In this presentation, we summarize major points about the literature review. Through this presentation, you will learn what is involved in conducting a literature review. This will help you develop a good search strategy on literature about your problem of interest, so that you will have enough of the literature to tell a coherent story in your literature review. The literature review is an important research tool. It is valuable in light of the knowledge explosion and the consequent impossibility of reading everything. It is a good idea that someone does a literature review. The literature review is important as a planning tool. It sets the context of a study and demarcates the scope of the investigation. It sets the boundaries between what is within the scope and what is outside of it. The literature review also situates existing literature in a broader scholarly and historical context. For example, through the literature review, we identify previous claims made in other studies. We also have the opportunity to examine the methods used to reach these claims. Through the literature review, we find out what has been learned and what is still unknown. The literature review summarizes and synthesizes a body of research literature on a particular topic. The literature review is also an end in itself. Through the literature review, we gain insights that can help improve professional practice and provide a comprehensive understanding of a body of literature about a particular problem of practice. When conducting a literature review, it is advisable to keep a number of paradigmatic concerns in mind. Postpositivist, constructivist, and transformative concerns are reflected differently in research and evaluation. They are also reflected differently in the published literature. Postpositivists aim to build a knowledge base from which to develop a hypothesis to test that will ultimately provide methodological guidance. The constructivist remains open to emerging hypotheses and may use the literature review to decide a research topic or to formulate a research plan. For the constructivist, the purpose of the literature review is to enhance the researcher's awareness of subtleties uncovered in previous research. To the transformative researcher, the literature review provides for the representation of the viewpoints of oppressed people. The transformative researcher works with community members to develop a focus of research rather than rely solely on the literature. Conducting a literature review generally requires a specific process such as this one. However, in some methodological traditions, notably in qualitative research, this process continues in tandem with data collection. As the qualitative researcher learns more through data collection, he or she may revisit the literature to gain new insights into emerging themes in the data. Quantitative research does not generally take this iterative approach. In the quantitative tradition, the literature review precedes data collection, and it is unusual for additional searches to be conducted during and after collection and analysis. You should have already identified a research topic as a result of your introduction at the beginning of the course. Next, you may read secondary sources such as magazines of professional organizations. These magazines generally contain case study articles that draw from the literature. The bibliographies in these articles can be useful resources in locating research literature for your literature review. However, the magazine articles themselves are not research articles. We ask that you refrain from using magazine articles in your search other than to locate peer-reviewed research articles that the authors may have cited in their reference list. Using other materials in this lesson, you will be prepared to conduct a search and select specific articles to review. This used to mean long visits to the library to find hard copy articles. Nowadays, much of the search can be done online from the comfort of your internet-accessible home computer. ASU Libraries has subscriptions to a number of excellent databases that provide free access to articles that you can download and store on your computer for future reference. If you are unfamiliar with the search resources of the ASU Libraries, you'll have an opportunity to familiarize yourself with them through a variety of online tutorials that are presented later in this lesson. For every primary source article that you review, complete a journal article review form. The use of these forms is presented later in this lesson. Completing these forms will allow you to use a systematic process that will provide you with critical information later when you are writing your literature review. We will be following this process for the rest of this course. The first 3 points correspond roughly to your activities in the first part of the course. Then you will complete points 4 through 7 over the next several weeks, and you will complete the process by writing up your literature review and submitting it by the deadline posted in the course schedule. In short, during the next part of this course, you will collect research articles related to your topic according to steps 1 through 6 of this process. At minimum, your literature review should include at least 10 to 12 articles. You may include more than the 10 to 12 articles in your search. During the latter portion of this course, you will complete steps 8 and 9 of this process. In your research of the literature, consider these questions as guides to focus your literature review. What is the big picture? How is this research related to other research? How is this research related to your purpose statement? What is the central topic? How is the topic connected to your problem of practice? How is it relevant to your literature review? How is the researcher conceptualizing the problem? How is it related to your problem of practice? What is the nature of the literature cited? Is it recent? Does it include primarily primary or secondary sources, or is it opinion? Is there a critical analysis? Do they cite peer-reviewed articles? Do the authors cite a variety of sources, or do they focus the literature review more narrowly? Why is this study important? How does it aid in resolving your problem of practice? What is the theoretical or conceptual framework? Do the authors articulate a clear theoretical framework? If so, how can you draw upon that theoretical framework for your own work? Does your review provide enough information? Have you included sufficient details to understand this article a week or 2 or 3 from now after you've read many other articles? This concludes this presentation. For more information about the literature review, read Chapter 3 of the Mertens book or refer to the information available through the other books or online resources. A number of videos are also available in the additional resources page for this lesson. In the next presentation, we will discuss the range of research designs as Mertens categorizes them. Armed with a problem and a research topic on which to focus, you are now equipped to start your search of the literature. What you collect and what you decide to select from what you collect will help you weave this collection of knowledge into a story about how others have investigated this problem and the conclusions they have reached. This story will be the body of your literature review. Is the literature review free from bias? Is it free from emotional language? Does it represent a view that's not influenced by a funding source? Does the literature review present a balanced perspective?